Andrew, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. So, folks, thanks very much for making the time to kind of join us today. Don't think I know everybody actually. I'm not sure I've met Antonio and Ryan. In fact, there's Ryan and Lucas. So there's a few people on the call that I haven't met. But yeah, as Melina said, I mean, this is part of the series that we're putting together. Is we're writing our blogs, and then we are doing workshops, and this is really it gives people an insight into some of the work that we're doing, certainly and some of the kind of workshops that you might expect to see if you come to our emergence event in Sweden in August, right? So this is we're giving you a good flavor through May on different topics on different areas of specialism that the four of us have got. So Marcy, I think is like Milena's on next week, and then Marcy's on the week after. So it just gives you a taste of. Clearly, we're only doing an hour and a half online, so it's a bit different when you have 5 days together as a group where we go really deep into this stuff and build real harmony within the participants and the presenters, and we create this very strong, powerful team, and that's really the main area of the presentation today is really focusing on groups. It's the bit that I'm kind of most passionate about through my history, which kind of Melina kind of mentioned before. So I'm gonna jump into the presentation, and really the title is 6 mastermind principles for creating a dream team. I'm really focusing today on groups and communities, but this really can be applied to any time you're working with more than one person. So let's pull this up, and I'm hoping that you're getting ready to participate as well, because this is going to be a participate. So can you see the screen there? Yes, great, perfect. Also, like, we're on Zoom. I think most people have used Zoom before. If people want to put things into the chat or they've got questions as we're going through this, then raise your hand. I'm pretty open to being interrupted, and as we're going through the things, but maybe do it with a hand up or in the chat, and then we can stop and take that. There will be places throughout the workshop where we'll get time to kind of talk as a group as well. Okay, so let me just hope this is going to work. Yes. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much on this, but it's really introduction is going to be about my background in teams. If you read my blog, it's following similar sequence to the blog article. We're going to go deeper in some areas, and we're going to talk a bit. It really starts before we even create a group about looking at yourself, and we'll talk about that very shortly. We'll then talk about what is a mastermind. What do I mean by that? And then we'll start going through kind of the building of a team. We're going to create. I think we've got 10 people on the call, so we can have probably 2 teams of 5. I'm not sure if I can join, but there will be 2 teams of 5 within that. So we'll kind of build a team, and that team will stay together for 2 exercises. So it'll be a getting to know you session to begin with, and then we'll go through the principles of the mastermind principles, take the team building principles. We'll then do another exercise where we'll apply some of the learnings that we've done in the workshop, and then I'll just give you a little something to think about that you can take away, and things you might want to do next within your groups, communities, whether you want to start a new group or a new community. So that's kind of the broad agenda, and let's dig in. Okay, so just really a few minutes on that. Elena's mentioned, I mean, I've been in corporate life for 30 years. I've worked in many different locations. I've managed teams across multiple functions, so anything from very highly quantitative people to people that will be operations and doing more administration tasks. I've worked with teams across geography. I can't think of a nationality that I haven't worked with or for, or that they've worked for me, and obviously that's given me great insight, including my travel around the different cultures in the world, and culture is critical thing, as we'll discover as we move forward. Part of that financial services experience was I ran a fintech business for about 5 years. That team was mostly around 80 odd people in India. So again, managing from London, the teams in India across all the different teams there, just gave me insights into what works and what doesn't. Monday Foundation is a charity, education and livelihoods charity, which I was a volunteer of 22 years ago, and then we set the charity up, and I'm currently the chairman of that. We provide grants and loans to grants and loans to poor women in poor HIV affected women in Africa. We do a lot of teacher training in Nepal in northeast India, and that's a passionate area of mine. If we're talking about teams, I've played well over 500 games, and that's competitive football probably since the age of 7. Again, different dynamics, but you are part of a team. You're trying to gel a group together to be better than they can on their own. And clearly, you can't win football with one player. So I've had exposure to that playing, and I've managed a few teams as well. I'm quite successful in the London leagues. And finally, of course, Mycelium Hub, is why you're all here today, which I joined about a year ago, but known Marcy Milan for whatever two and a bit years, and that's another area of passion. So most of these things I like working with other people, right? And I think that we can't, whilst there's certain things we have to do on our own, and we can do on our own and everything else, we're never going to achieve that kind of change or massive impact if we work on our own. So you have to work with other people, and the thing is here, how do we do that? So the next one is, so that's say, right, you've got your life now, we're living, and then something comes up and you think, oh, I wanted to start a new project or a new group or a new team. But first thing I think really is to look at yourself first. Do a self-assessment. I mean, even Milena talks about Milan's personal organization last week, and it's around kind of identifying your areas and mapping out your time and being, your time management. So, think about, I think kind of going to reverse order a bit here, but think about, do I have the time to actually to do this? Why do I want to do it in the first place? Do I have the skills or the resources? There's no point really in starting a team if you on something you have no idea about, and no people that have any idea about it either. So I think that looking at, do I have the skills to do this new project or set up this new group? Commitment, how committed am I? Is it important enough? Looking at my current, things that I've got on my plate, is this more important than what I'm doing already? I don't think anyone on the call is sitting on their hands and got nothing to do. We've all got stuff, competing priorities. So is it important enough to change it? This next one is what is my mindset, is an interesting one. So for me, what I mean by that is, if you're in your current state of mind is not positive and can do, and I can do these things, again, I would strongly recommend not starting something new, right? Because I think if you're already in that kind of, oh, I have to do it, and I'm not really that convinced that I'm going to be able to do it, and that kind of thing, it's just pointless, and you're just kind of, you're living in your head a little bit. So I think, if you're in a real positive frame of mind and you really feel empowered to move forward with it, great, right? So that's what I mean by that, not having this fixed, limited mindset, but this growth, seeing the future, seeing the vision, and going for it, and really moving forward with that. And I talked about the time thing as well. And I guess the incremental piece on this is that, which I mentioned at the beginning, we've got busy lives. So for me, it's the time and the commitment. And are you willing to drop something else? Because from my perspective, I am maxed out at the moment completely. I'm completely maxed. I don't know. I left corporate world in January, and I'm busier than I've ever been. And there's lots of things that compete with your time. So this is also about being disciplined, about taking on the right things as well, right? It's about saying, yeah, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll give 5-10 hours, and then before you know it, you're 5-10-50 hours in a week into something, and you're just that's wasted. It's the opportunity cost of doing something that you really are committed and really want to move forward. So I think it's really important that you start with yourself before you even think about moving on with teams. I'll just pause there. Does anyone have any comments or questions or observations on that, or other questions you might want to ask yourself? I will take pause.
Just love the time point, Andrew. Like, I think most people are really good at taking on new stuff and trying to jam it in, but then looking at actually what do I need to drop for this. I love that.
Right, thank you. Okay, so let's keep going. You're right. I mean, it's like as I did a course on autonomy with a guy called Richard Graves, which some of you'll know, and he would always say you've got 268 hours in a week, right? So you don't have any more than that, so use it wisely. Okay, so let's move on. So we're now moving on to teams, and I'm sure people have heard the word mastermind in some shape or form over the last year or 18 months. For me, there's so many people talking about leadership and mastermind groups, probably because the leadership of the elites and the governments and everything else is just well, woefully inadequate at the moment, right? And so I think people are looking for how do we just kind of thank you. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yeah. So I think yeah. So what do I mean by mastermind? Well, it's not. It's quite a simple definition I'm using here, and it's really just saying the alliance of two or more people. And I can't read this because I've got the thing above my. Okay, I'm gonna move that. It's good. Okay, the alliance of two or more minds working in perfect harmony for the attainment of a common definite objective. Success does not come without the cooperation of others. I've underlined perfect harmony and common definite objective. I think we could all say, yeah, look, we want to do something. Well, I work with you, Milena. Let's just do something. We'll work on it. We've got no, but this perfect harmony is a key thing. How do you create that? Can you maintain harmony on an ongoing basis, which allows even more teams to achieve more from that? So we're going to talk a little bit about kind of how can you create more harmony in the groups and teams that you're working with. And then this other bit about the common definite objective, I'll talk about this in a slightly different way, but it's around that shared purpose. It's like I know exactly what this group is doing or this community are doing. I'm aligned with that. I agree with that. I've signed up to it, as does everyone else in the group. And that really gives you that kind of feeling that you're right. Okay, that's a good start point. That's a very good starting point to be. You'd be surprised how difficult that is, or how often that isn't the case when you go deeper when things go wrong. You can find you find out why they go wrong, and that's because you're not okay. I don't quite share that vision with you. Actually, I don't. So that's the definition. So I'm just saying, really, mastermind is really about creating the high performing team. But how do we go about doing that? If you read my blog, I talked a bit about going, which is not the subject of this workshop, but I will do a blog on it, and that's really the concept of when you create a team and a group in a certain way, and you align with this perfect harmony, but you also there's a way of you tapping into another entity, or it's not just this group, right? You're able to tap into the universal energy of I can't remember this now. That should be it's an environment where you can tap into the universal mind. So for those that are minded to have this kind of conscious, the understanding your body, your mind is made up of a conscious, subconscious mind, and the subconscious is where everything's held, and really you should be able to, you can tap into intelligence that's across, across the universe outside of the group. There's a really good book which I would highly recommend people read, which is called The Master Key by Charles Hannell. He wrote this, I think he wrote this in the 1910, 1915. But he talks a lot about how you an understanding the body, understanding the mind, and then understanding how you put groups and teams together. So there's a lot at the beginning about self and self-understanding, and then it moves into how you create these teams. There's a lot around here around visualization, it's manifestation. There's things and practices that one can do which can change your outcome, right? Not the subject of this workshop, but for those interested, look out for a future blog on that. So I mean, there's more. There's other principles. There's probably more than 6, but these are the 6 that I tend to focus on when I'm building a team. And there's ones we're going to go deeper into. One is, what is the cause? Right? What is that objective? Do we have a definitive purpose for what the group is trying to do? Culture. So there's a typo there. Create conditions for mutual trust and respect. So I believe culture and values. I think all of these are incredibly important, but how you build how you build culture is not the easiest thing, and it needs a lot of work and commitment from everybody. And it evolves. That's the other thing. Culture never just stays still. It never stays still. We'll talk about that more detail a bit later. Values. So, what values is the group going to work upon? It underpins how the group is going to do its work. Agreements. Something I learned a lot from Marcy Milan when I first met them. The importance of agreements, especially in communities. It serves as a framework of cooperation. We'll talk more about that as well. Language and communication. How you talk, the language we use with each other, the channels, open communication, which is openness of communication, transparency. These types of things are all really important, and you can actually tell when people, through the way people, you look at teams or groups talking to each other, you can always kind of see where they're at in terms of their cultural evolution, or on the cultural ladder. And then you've got, and then the last one really is, which Marcy's dear to Marcy's heart, is just it's the kind of, it's once you've kind of got that in place, we know what we're going to do, we know how we're going to work with each other, we know what values we're going to do, right? How do we execute, right? So it's everything we need under the hood, that gets us moving and achieving our objectives. So yeah, the systems that we're going to use, but then how do we, the procedures, how do we then review and evaluate how we're doing, that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so we're now moving into we're now moving into kind of the first one. So I really want to kind of just start testing some of this out before we get into the principles. I want to just start to build the team, right? So we're going to have two groups here. Within the groups, someone should agree to be a note taker, someone could be a speaker, someone should be a timekeeper, because we're trying, we're going to run a meeting as well, which is another skill, right? And what I want you to do really is to go around the table, around the room, and have a brief introduction. Really, we're talking about 1 to 2 minutes. Talk a bit about your background, something fun fact that someone might not know about you, and then this one is an interesting one, which we're not going to necessarily practice much more, but include how you like to work. We've been on quite a number of courses recently on authentic relations, and there's things like the golden rule: treat people how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated. These kind of things. So how do you like to work? Because that's an important part of teams as well. Right, some people might just want to be right. I want deep focus space. I mean, we have that within our Mycelium Hub with very different working styles. So it's important. I think when you build in teams and groups, it's important to know how people work. What's their best working style? And then I think identify your top 3 skills and create a team name. So that's going to be 10 minutes. Anyone got any questions on what we need to do there? Hopefully it's relatively straightforward, but it's just starting to build a bit of rapport with your group. We're going to have one other exercise where the same group will get back together. Any questions?
Andrew, can you now when we join the breakout rooms, you're not going to see the screen anymore. So if you can copy paste the questions and put them in the chat, I think that would be helpful to us all.
Yeah. Okay, great. Perfect.
That's my side. And if no other questions, then I'm going to automatically assign you to breakout rooms. So be prepared.
I see you in 10.
Yeah. Oh, just one question, Andrew. Are you joining a breakout?
Well, are we okay from a recording perspective? Does it kind of?
Yeah.
I'm happy to. I'm happy, of course. I'm happy to join, as long as I don't want to take any of the roles on. I've got enough going on. But yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Fine. Yeah.
And Milan, I think that you can just choose a room because we didn't get assigned. Oh, we have a new person in the chat, or no? Okay, we do.
Pizza.
Hello, Maria. Carmen Saifon. I'm not sure. I think that you just joined, so you might not know what's going on. Let me know if you need any sort of help from my side. Okay. Hi.
Yeah, so we are introducing ourselves. All right, well, I'm Bruce. I think it was like fun fact, working style, and I forget the third one already.
Skills.
That's you.
3 skills.
No. Okay, now I know who that is. Okay, what we're doing here really quickly is sharing a one-liner about ourselves, our skills, and our working style. Yes, and sorry for the interruption. Bruce, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, it's good. Hopefully these dogs don't interrupt either. I'm Bruce, go by Bruce Starlove. I software engineer, writer, creative, to do a bunch of random stuff. I also love to practice archery, been practicing for 8 years. And working style, I don't know exactly how to answer that question other than I like to work in like 2 to 3 hour sprints and then like 2 to 3 hours rest. And I kind of just alternate that twice a day. 2 to 3 hours a day. Yeah, twice. Interested in hearing how y'all answer that.
Okay, I think I'll go next. My name is Hristo. I'm a software engineer. A fun fact might be that I'm learning to sing at the moment. My working style is, let's say, the first thing that came to my mind is that I like to work in an environment where there are other people with me working as well, which is a bit challenging right now because I switched to a fully remote job. So I'm trying to overcome this. And my top 3 skills, I would say I'm good at quickly learning new technologies. Let's say I think I'm very good at teaching people things. I've worked as a mentor in my university, and yeah, I'm good at swimming. Let's say that's a skill. Yeah, that's for me.
Cool. Cool. Then I'm happy to go next. I'm Lucas. I'm working with teams and individuals as coach. And fun fact about me, one reason why I'm here, somehow the name Mycelium was attracting me. I just saw it in a random group. And one fun fact, after I did my first mushroom trip, I always hated mushrooms, like to eat mushrooms, like champignons, all kind of mushrooms. I hated them all. And after my first psychedelic experience with mushrooms, I suddenly started loving all kinds of mushrooms and eating them. And top 3 strengths, I would say I'm good at connecting people and dots. I'm good at listening. And I'm also good in kind of reading the atmosphere in a room and playing that back. Okay, who else? Milena.
Yes,
Well, I'll say the same thing. I wasn't a fan of mushrooms at all, and then after, first trip, which was very recent, now I'm in love with mushrooms. Buttons, portobellos. Yeah, I'm cooking up.
I can't say that because I always loved mushrooms and I still love mushrooms after my mushroom trips. But I'm just we were supposed to assign note taker and I don't think that we did, so I'm taking notes. That's why I self-assigned myself. About me, okay. A fun fact about myself is that the thing that I struggle the most with my life is telling people, answering the question, so what do you do? I can't do that. I'm completely incapable. I don't know. And I guess that also speaks to my skill set. I'm also technical. So I started my whole journey as a software engineer. Since then, one thing that I'm good at is organizing, having things moving, so organizing groups. And another thing that I am good at is, I guess, breaking ice from time to time. I'm also a decent swimmer, but we already have a swimmer in the room, so I think we're good. And what was, there was a third thing, no? I actually put them in the chat. How do I like to work? Right, one thing that I discovered about myself is that I can't do job that I need to be in calls all day. Like I need to have my focus alone time. So in a way, I need to work in a very asynchronous way. This is kind of a little bit my professional user manual. Like I need asynchronous communication. But other than that, I really love teams and working in a team. So that's great. And I'm just going to ask you here because I actually know the presentation because I helped building the slides. So I know that we're going to need the skills and I struggle taking them all. So I'm going to ask you again. I'm sorry. Christo, you're a swimmer, you are a software engineer, and what was your other skill?
Swimming, learning fast, and teaching.
Learning and teaching. Beautiful skills. And Bruce, you're creative. You said also software, writing.
Software, writing, yeah, editing, writing, proofing for that.
Editing. And
Yeah.
look, you read the room, you connect the people, and again, your third one, I missed it.
Yeah, I think I said something around listening.
Okay.
I'm a good listener. And
Right, well, I guess we're very soft skills oriented, huh? I did not expect that. You know, if you I was expecting, well, I know 7 languages and I do this type of writing, or yeah, but okay, that's great. Well, we need a name for our team.
I'm thinking like berries, like collab berry. Oh wait, that's
That's taken.
But what are we forming a team for, actually?
We don't know.
Oh, okay.
We just know our skills, so we have to, maybe we can come up with something to do.
Well, Lucas, do you swim?
yeah, I'm
All
a
right.
pretty good swimmer.
We all swim.
We all swim. Okay, we're
So
the swimmers. or
we're the cetaceans. Oh, yeah, what are like dolphins, whales? What's their species name or like their categorization?
They're mammals.
Mammals or cetacean? Not cetaceans.
fish. I mean, not dolphins, but
Cetacean. Yeah. So cetacea is an infraorder of aquatic mammals that includes whales, dolphins, and porpoises. I don't know. That word popped in my head.
okay. I do not know how to write this word, so if you put it in the chat, I'm gonna love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Or actually, it could just be the cetacea. I don't know. Whichever.
Okay, love it.
Can we think of something that rhymes with cetacea?
Acacia. Aphrodisia.
Okay.
That's a good one. I'm the host. I need to go because I need to close the rooms. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Too soon. Milena said
Oh, you came here so that we can stick together. Thank you. You're already a great team.
we're like dolphins in a pod. Thinking again.
And Lucas, out of curiosity, what is the group where you found the mycelium?
Sorry, I just started to eat.
No, that's okay. Feel free.
So the group was a group of an accelerator 1,000 Faces, where I'm an advisor.
Oh, right.
And, yeah, and I randomly saw it and clicked on it. I was like, oh, yeah, sounds interesting. And it happened to be in a free slot.
Yeah, I'm also an advisor there. I posted. So great, great to meet you here.
Yeah, likewise.
Kicked from my nice.
How did everyone get on? Did you guys finish? You did. Is it very good? You finished. We kind of run out of time a little bit. But Milan, I guess when we do the next exercise, you should just finish off yours before we go into the second exercise. I think we have time for that. So let's make sure we do that because it's part of the process. Hi, Maria.
Yeah.
Amazing. Lovely to see you. Okay. Sorry, I thought I forgot it's back to me. Ha. Let me just get this back up to presenting. Yep. Okay, can you see the screen? Yes.
Yep.
Great. Okay, so hopefully there was a little bit of fun in there, but I mean, there's a serious parts that obviously is you kind of got to figure out ways of getting to understand what people can offer. And so this was just really. Oh, we didn't even get to a team name, guys, either. God, well, I know I just we've actually forgot one thing in our thing. So, did the other group have a team name?
Yes, but I don't have the language skills to read it.
Oh,
You can just
who's it then?
Bruce can read it. He's American.
Oh, Cetacea.
It's what?
Cetacea.
Cetacea, and what does that where did that come from?
It's the group of aquatic mammals, including whales and dolphins and porpoises.
Okay,
Sciencey word.
We
great.
all swim, so
Yeah, we all swim.
Ah, okay, good. Well, look, I think so. So look, there's one part of that. You obviously kept your time well. You had a time, and we just we kind of spent too long on certain things. So again, it's another practice or skill to practice. I mean, clearly you'd probably have more than 10 minutes to do that type of exercise, but normally, it's just good to know. You know, when you do have, I mean, one learning I have when you do try and force something really quick is like really think about the key things you want to get out in the time that you've got allocated to you. We can, and then you can expand it out if you have longer. It's a good way of trying to think, what's my elevator pitch? What should I be focusing when I'm speaking to people for a short period of time? Okay, so let's move into the six principles or six areas that we look at about creating the dream team. The noble cause. This is the why are we doing this? What's the objective? I would argue it's the critical starting point. I don't think you can just create a group and say, "Oh, the vision will become to us in a bit," or something like that. I think you have to have something that it might evolve, but you have to have a vision and then work on that and refine it to get it clear. So I think alignment on vision and objectives is the critical starting point. The group, it's just when we talk about the self-assessment, it's still around starting with the why are we doing this? And I always find a good question for that is, we're doing this because we're doing this in the service of what? Often when we're creating groups or communities, it's about we're looking to give something to a community or to a group, and so what are we trying to serve here? And the service of what? We'll look at Mycelium's vision on the next slide. I would argue also to keep the vision clear, not too abstract or anything else, because it's how people kind of find you in the first place. Okay, so I look at what someone said there, and right, we all first of all the existing team buy into that, but then you have new people that find, oh, okay, yeah, I share that vision or I share that mission, and that attracts people that are like-minded or people that want to join the group for you as well. So it's an easy way for people to find you. And I just also say, don't be rigid in, right, this is our vision. We can't change for any reason ever. These things will evolve as you grow or as you expand or as new opportunities come in, or positions change or people leave. And so, that's kind of sometimes where we're probably in groups, all of us that might be, or we may be in groups that have made changes, and one of the recommendations I have at the end is to actually look at all the groups you're in and just re look at why you're in that group. do you still share their vision? And if you don't, why are you still in it? You know, so it's that kind of thing on there. So starting with the vision, Mycelium's Hub vision is a world where people and teams communicate effectively, lead extraordinarily, and govern wisely. So again, we're keeping it simple. If you look at the workshops, the workshops, the blogs, everything will resolve around this thing. So what we're doing today is communication, teams, leadership. Each of us will talk about these different topics. So everything will hangs into those things. It's quite easy, I think, to people to understand what we're trying to do here, right? Lead extraordinarily, as I said earlier before, the lack of good leadership at the top, in the top positions globally is so poor, and it's crying out for people to change. And we want to help be enablers of people to learn different ways. Obviously, learning from mycelium and from the mushrooms and from the fungi as well, from the nature. And so that's our vision. And I'm sure you have your own ones there. So we move on to culture. I like to think it reflects the essence of the group. So not just of one person. It's like you can often see when there's really good culture, there's this real, you just see it's perfect harmony that we were talking about before, or in the definition of mastermind, you know, of effective masterminding. So I think it really is the essence of the group. I think it's hard to measure. You know, how do you measure? Are you happy? Are you sad? Do you feel included? I mean, you could go and have a questionnaire, you know, but that for me doesn't actually. I don't think that works very well, particularly these kind of yes and no answers. It's just this whole, you know, and I think people will have been in really toxic cultures before, and you kind of know what that's like. And there'll be other times when you're in this group, everything's singing and dancing, and you know, everything's a bed of roses. Not all the time, but it's good because you know people got your back, and there's support, and there's trust, and there's you know there's alignment, and so on and so forth. So I think in the blog I mentioned, there's another book that I refer to a lot, and I use a lot of the stuff I've learned from that book. And they really, it's called Tribal Leadership. It's based on assessing thousands of corporate companies, but I think you can translate some of this stuff into the communities and smaller groups as well. And it talks about different cultures. The lowest culture being life sucks. That really is the whole group, the whole tribe, if you like. Feeling, well, you know, it's just pointless what I'm doing. You then have my life sucks, which is level 2. That's probably someone that other people are doing well within a group, but my life particularly sucks. That's level 2. 3 is I'm great. It's very ego based. My old industry, financial services, lawyers, you know, these types of industry, government, politics, politicians. You know, have this kind of a ego-based way of working, which is like, I'm going to get to the top. I don't give a shit about anybody else. We're great is level 4. That's the tone of the group is like we are all working together. We've got that harmony. That's where I think you get that kind of harmony. And if you can keep that harmony and we're great on a consistent basis, then you get to this called Life's Great, which is this level 5, which is where true innovation and the real kind of magic happens. But you have to be kind of operating at we're great and level 4. And the book kind of talks about, you know, what each of those characteristics look like, and how you might upgrade, try different exercises, different techniques, and you can apply to recognize where you are, and well, how do I get from, you know, level 2 to level 3, or level 3 to level 4, and there's really good information within that. So I think ultimately it's for the way out for me, it's like, both fostering or creating an environment where there's respect, there's trust, there's support, mutual support, and a bit of love as well. Values. So what is a value? Why is it important? How they're used? I'm always surprised when groups don't have values articulated. I think it really it really kind of underpins, as I think I mentioned earlier, it underpins how a group is going to what's important to the group, deeply important, what it has that real value, what's important for us in terms of our mission and our vision. What are the underlying values that we have in a group or community? And I think it's important for that because often you're never in, I mean, we talk about perfect harmony and consistent perfect harmony, but every group, every organization, every company, will have ups and downs in its process, and sometimes may have some really challenging decisions to make. And you can actually go back to, well, what do our values say? If we've got disagreement within the group, so the four of us and Mycelium Hub are like, we can't, we're an impasse. We can't move forward because we've locked in a disagreement that doesn't enable us to move forward on something. Then you can come back to your values. We're going to look at the Mycelium values again in a minute, but we can look back at our values and say, what do our values tell us? How does that help us to make decisions? And it works if you do that. If you think about it deeply. We spent a lot of time in Sweden last year after our first emergence event, actually, too. And we did an exercise with the team there, which was great, where we got a lot of good input from the participants. But actually, as we kind of evolved that further. We spent a lot of time on this, and that's kind of a bit how they use. So that's just kind of, I've given two examples here of values within the two groups that I kind of work, I guess, most with at the moment, which is Mycelium Hub, obviously. So the ones that we came up were respecting individuality, mutual support, impactfulness, culture of agreement, growth, personal growth and wisdom, and nature, health and wellness. And as I'm looking at that, I think we're missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're missing the so again, this is good for test for me because it's obviously we should know as a group, we should know what these off the top of our head without having to kind of read them. But there's another one about there's one missing actually, which is around in-person. We value in-person meetings and presence. Well, that's the whole. Whilst we do a lot of our work online.
Fostering presence.
Fostering presence. Thank you, Marcy. So that didn't copy over properly. But yeah, fostering presence. So we really value in-person meetings. Marcy Milan are always having people, hosting people at the hub. We have our pop-up groups. That's where, again, we do a lot of our work. Well, not work, but it doesn't feel like work because it's meeting great people like yourselves, and it's about sharing ideas and helping the communities and like-minded communities grow together. So those are the kind of Mycelium Hub ones. And Mondo ones, again, you can see here, this is an overseas charity. So we really focus on locally led ideas. We don't go into these countries and say, oh, this is what you need. We've got a big pot of money. We work with the locals and find out what it is that they need, and we go and raise money and work with them to implement. And then, integrity, transparency, empathy. I guess the point there is good examples here, but it's, every group will be different. So I would just encourage when you creating teams and you think that it's, or community in particular as well, if there isn't some values in place, then go and speak to the rest of the team and put some in place. Because actually, as you go through it, you can debate them, and then again, it really helps you to realign and to align with the vision and the mission of what you're trying to do. So that would be, would say on that. A couple of things on its own agreements, and we've got someone on the call here that talks about this on the community way there about about not a lack of a written agreements, but we believe that you should have agreements with the group. Make sure they're agreed and have them written down. Discussed, debated, refined, but agreed as a group. This is how these are the agreements we have in place with each other on how the group community is going to work. And I mean, obviously, that's reviewed on a periodic basis to make sure it encompasses all the things it needs to. The impact of not having these things in place, and incidentally, we find that when we've met groups in our travels, and we went to Mexico and Central America and at the hub and another thing, we find this coming up quite a lot about that. Oh yeah, we just don't have that. Even in like New Hampshire, there was one of the guys, I can't remember his name, that was there, and we were talking. New Hampshire is one of the biggest freedom communities out there. They're trying to do the Free State project, which Marcy was on stage with in Acapulco. But he was saying, yes, yeah, it's great. We're free. We have this great freedom, but there's that lack of agreement. They don't have these things written down. Then things, blow up, and there's dissatisfaction, and people don't get what they should be getting. Yuli's not on the call today, but he's kind of highlighted before about when you've got virtual projects. Maybe Antonio, you resonate with this as well. You're working on projects and you're all working on it remotely and everything else. If you've not agreed how any benefits from what the work you're doing gets distributed up front, then that can cause issues later on down the track, right? And sometimes people don't get anything for putting in a lot of work in. And then in extremis, the group or the community breaks up because there's been such a misunderstanding or misagreement or disagree over the fact that I didn't say that, and it breaks up. So some areas that we've looked at within our own agreements within Mycelium Hub, things like rituals, check-ins, expectation to kind of come to communal lunches, fireside circles, that kind of thing. Roles and responsibilities, particularly with respect to time and time agreement. So again, we have times where if we can't make a time, then we need to. And there's a at the bottom process on breaking agreements as well. It's around respecting, like having in place, right? If you agree to meet at time, you're there. That's respecting people's time. But there's also a process for what happens if you can't. You have to break an appointment. I got sick. I need to go to the hospital. The cat needs to go to the vet. You have an emergency situation. Then there's a way of then interacting with that person to say, look, this is not going to happen today. Let's rearrange. So it's kind of those expectations. It's how each team member maybe interacts with each other at a relatively high level, but it just kind of sets these things out, and communication type thing. We'll come on to some of those when we come to the communication section. And then there's all about the managing disagreements, which I mentioned before, which and Milan is kind of expert at talking about and applying kind of non-violent communication. So talking about how you communicate in a non-violent way to resolve issues. So it's those kind of things. If you come to the emergence event, we all go through this exercise, and we'll have agreements for the group, when we come up, and it's quite a good exercise to go through to get. And then once those are written, it's like you can then go back to them, right? If there's a problem, well, hang on, this is what we're doing. Why is that? Why does this keep happening, and so on and so forth. There is an issue. I mean, maybe I can ask Milan and Marcy on this, just because I'm thinking about this. I'm interested in the answer. But there's times when, despite all of the agreements, everything's in place, everything's perfect. Then there are times perhaps when if there's just constant no respect at all for any of this stuff, then perhaps you have to move that person on, or yeah, how does that, yeah, I know you've had some challenges in that area before, but how does that play itself out, if you like? Someone comment on that, Milan, do you want to?
Yeah, I think having agreements in place is useful for that as well, because you can refer back to those to explain, to try and figure out where that conflict is coming from. And then you can do a few things. You can either discuss and together adjust the agreements so that we know the expectations are aligned, or if the person was in fact breaking the agreement and they do so consistently, then there's a misalignment, and you know, there needs to be a change, which normally would be that person leaving. I mean, it's one of the most difficult discussions to have, but having agreements makes it a lot easier and makes it less personal. Right? It's just like, we all really care about these agreements, and you just don't care about them. We see that through behavior, and you know, there's no alignment, so it makes it less personal. It's like there's probably people out there that person is aligned with, just not with this group. Right? What do you think, Marcy?
Yeah, it happens. It's very interesting that agreements, it's something that we all seem to love when we introduce the subject, but there is always, I couldn't tell you the percentage, but let's say like 10% of the people that they have a really difficult time even understanding, even though they agree, we take the time to go through all the agreements, but certain people, they just not there yet. So it's also, as you were saying, Andrew, at the beginning, like it's the mindset. Like, I mean, it's your mindset and understanding your role within a group. So people that are not ready to take on the agreements, probably they're not in that place to have a committed agreement with people. But in general, it has been a great exercise. It seems so simple, yet it's necessary in the situation where you want to have a much more sovereign lifestyle, etc., right? So yeah, I'm not sure if that answers your question, but at the end, it ends up by one of the parties to kind of separate. But to get to that point, I mean, it takes time.
There's another possibility, which is that, you know, the person adjusts their behavior, and that can also happen. But again, with clarity, that's easier. It's like, I didn't understand how you mean that. Now that we've talked it through, yeah, that's no problem. I can actually do that.
Okay, very good. I think we are up to another exercise, our second exercise. So let's just walk through this quickly, make sure everyone understands. I'll do the same thing. I'll copy it into the chat. So using the skills within your team, select a project from below. So land acquisition for building an eco-village, build a sustainable online community for sovereign living, produce an art exhibition, build a community centre. So just choose one. We, again, if we have, when we have that a more detailed emergence event, we go deep into like idea generation and ideation, coming up with really good ideas, and then going deep into those opportunities and try to think about, and then post the event, we'll pick on 2 or 3 of those opportunities and take those forward to execution. So that's kind of so this is just again, sneak preview into kind of the process, but use the skills with the team, select the project, map the skills to activities needed. Again, it's high level. It's a quick brainstorming exercise. What was missing? So again, it helps you again thinking, right, this is my team, this is what I've got, my asset, you know, these are what the skills I've got in my team. And you know, for example, I want to do an art exhibition. We've got great event managers, we've got great people organizers, great network, we've got no artists. So we've got to find some artists, some art. That's an example. But so that's on that one. And then come up with 3 values you want your work to group. I mean, it takes weeks for us to put our values together. So again, just be thinking about what are the kind of 3 key values within the project that you've chosen that you want to work on as a project, and we'll just practice that that exercise as well. Anyone got any questions? This time we have like 15 minutes. I think that's good enough time. I'm just trying to check my time. I've got 10 minutes at the end. Yeah, so I think 15 minutes, but definitely strict on 15 so that we can finish the presentation. Anyone got any questions before we dive into breakout rooms? I think that's clear. Yeah, okay, very good. So Milena, is that you? Yeah.
Okay, guys. I'm just going to put in the chat our skills. And I forgot mine, so I took notes of yours, but I forgot mine, so I just wrote new ones. And yeah, what do you feel like doing? There are 4 projects. I'm down for all. Do you see the message? I put them in the chat.
Yeah, I see the skills you just put, but I don't see the
Up.
So land acquisition for building an eco village, or build a sustainable online community for sovereign living, or produce art exhibition, or build a community center.
I've actually had this project of building a community center, so I'm really down for you figuring it out.
I have no idea what that would look like, or acquiring land, or doing really any of those, except maybe art exhibition. But
Okay, which one do you prefer?
Any input from Risto?
I like the idea of a community center. By the way, what happens to Lucas?
Lucas left, so it's just the 3 of us, but we can count on his skills. So
okay.
his skills as well.
Okay, his skills are very good for building a community center.
That's true.
And so are mine, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, so with Lucas connecting people, so we need people to join the community center and be part of it. And it being a community centered, I imagine it's less top down. This is how it's going to be, and more circle. We're coming together and building this collaboratively. So listening skills and reading the room. So Lucas is on point with that.
Yeah.
Leading tech teams. All right. So community center, is this a physical center?
We don't need to do the community center, but I mean,
well, we have to pick one. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think that it is important to pick one that we have the skill set for. So.
Well, do you think you could lead? Do you think you could lead physical building teams, kind of like tech teams?
It's kind of like yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I can learn. It's okay. I'm all down for that.
Set up a Kanban board or agile thing, and
yeah.
And there's also an entrepreneurial part to it.
Yeah,
so.
In general, product building is something that I can do. So I think that I've already thought about community center. So we need I mean, I actually do think that your skills are some of the most relevant here, because all of our skills are relevant. That didn't sound good. I mean that there is in building a community center, there's a lot of promoting video, social media, spreading the word. So I think that actually we're good for a community center. If you feel like doing that.
I think we are. Yeah, we should call it like Collabberry or something.
Okay. Okay, for building a community center, we need a space. We need a space. Let's say that we can rent a space. What kind of skills do we need for a community center? We actually, what kind of skills are we missing?
Well, I think the most important part is just organization and coordination. And then awareness, social awareness, like no, not social promotion, PR basically. What you said, like promotion and videos in social media. So are we missing the organizational part?
I can take on the role, and then I might fail you guys, but I can do my best. I don't think that this is what we're missing, but there is a lot of programming around having a community center, because you need to run events and you need to organize dinners and gatherings and create spaces for people to show their art, you know, and there is a lot of this programming sort of thing that needs to be done, which means a lot of outreach as well. And also there is just so much logistics actually. Now this is something that I haven't done at any point in my life. Have you guys? Have you dealt with some sort of logistics things like, okay, we have like 4 floors, I don't know, 13 rooms, and now we need to have them clean, we need to, you know.
Yeah, I founded the hackathon at my university and then managed that for 3 years. So it was a lot of that. Electricity, internet, food, cleanliness, support staff, prizes, all this shit.
Okay,
nice.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
And then there's a lot of classes that I imagine in a community center. So you can teach some classes. So you need classes, and
we can teach people how to swim.
we need a pool.
We need a body of water.
Or actually, yeah, we don't need a pool. We need to do this by the sea.
Yes.
Yeah, potentially, like preferably in Latin America. Okay, we're already aligned. That's amazing.
Así también.
Are there some skills that you see still missing?
Well, if we're building from scratch, we need builders. Maybe we'll be able to rent a place or purchase an already built place.
Maybe we're missing there's a part of the atmosphere in a community center where you need someone to design the rooms, just to create a feeling.
You mean like what you call that? What sort of design it's called?
Interior
design. Yeah, okay, we need interior. That's fair. We either need a lot of money or we need to do that ourselves. So
yes. So
I have some aesthetic sense, but I'm not an interior designer per se. My mom clearly is.
One other thing that I'm thinking of is financials and crowdfunding, and in general funding, alternative sources of funding, because that's obviously not something that you fund with a VC venture capitalist. Do we have a financial skill? I have none.
Nope.
Okay.
Not really, but we're developers. We can develop some Web3 Gitcoin grant thing, make an NFT thing to fund it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. We can always sell some NFTs. I'm gonna put this as an idea. Okay, and what's missing required? Come up with 3 values you want the group to work on with the project.
3 values you want the group to work on with the project selected. Values.
That's like Andrew language. Yeah. Okay, actually that's pretty good project to build values on top of it, right? I mean, we need to, if we really want to do this project, we should have this value alignment already, because it's really value centered, sort of mission centered. It's not for profit, obviously. So So it should start from a place of values and mission and purpose and intrinsic motivation and such.
Yeah. Well, it's
I think that Bruce froze, did he? Ah, no. Wow, he's just super still. Okay.
Oh, deep in contemplation.
Um,
maybe inclusivity.
and
Uh,
solidarity, inclusivity and solidarity, that, you know, everyone.
and something related to growth, because you're joining all these activities, lectures, classes. It's coming from a place of wanting to grow, I think. So something around growth as well.
Mm-hmm.
And wellness, I guess overall, just at least that's where my mind is often. Good food, where is it sourced, how to prepare foods well, how to reduce waste, recycling, but also, so it's two things. I said it, just realized I was saying two different things in a way: personal wellness, and then also environmental
Maybe
harmony.
regenerative culture design, regenerative culture. Can you find a name for that? I'm not good with words.
Natural harmony.
Natural. Oh, I love it. Natural. Internal and external. Then it's.
Exactly.
Natural harmony.
And then yeah.
Okay. Can I? I'm just going to read them, so because I'm taking notes so that you hear them and then you can see if there is something missing. So, what the skills that actually ignore the skills. The skills, the main skills that we're missing are financials and some sort of design, sort of thinking. We have PR from Bruce, organization from me, classes like teaching from Itzo, and logistics from Bruce, hopefully. Which is horrible job. I would not take on that role, but your choice. And then in terms of values, we have inclusivity and solidarity, strive for personal growth, and internal and external natural harmony, where in parentheses I put regenerative mindset. Do you think that we need another value that we don't have?
Can you read the values again, because it froze from my internet?
Oh, sorry. From your, okay. Inclusivity and solidarity is our first one. Then strive for personal growth. And the third one is internal and external natural harmony, where in parentheses I put regenerative mindset.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't think
I would actually love to put a value, which I realized after I did this exercise of, you know, finding our Northern Star and defining our values with 3 projects. I realized that I have a very personal value that I kind of can't work with teams if I don't have that, which is some sort of playfulness. Like I want I want my work to be fun, you know? So like if we, so just enjoyment of what we're doing, and you know, not with a playfulness. There is one thing that comes that is very dear to my heart, which is not taking yourself too seriously, and the other thing is not to forget that whatever you're working on, you want to, you know, if you want for your job not to feel like a job, you need to have fun doing that.
Yeah.
And if we you know, agree on that, then there is like this very very playful sort of vibe when you're on team meetings, or when you're like completely burned out and you have to do a bunch of work, you know, and all these things. So
yeah, playfulness, passion, playfulness.
Yeah, I love that. I would definitely add playfulness as a key value in everything I do, at least moving forward. I was thinking about it this morning, just like enjoying it was put away the yumminess of life, whether it's delicious food or fun, playful interactions with people, or the work itself being playful and even yummy if you can managed to find that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is Marcela here. I don't think you've actually ever like you're always in a group chat, so I don't know if you've talked to her personally, but she with Adam when we were constantly saying deliciousness to things. This is her thing. Like this is how she calls this yumminess of life. Whenever something is just too good and it feels too good, it's this is a deliciousness moment. So I think that you would really resonate with her that yumminess of life. I like it. Mm.
Nice. These are good values.
Yeah, I love it.
Good. Oh yeah, timekeeping. Oh, we got like a minute.
Yes, I need to just close the breakout rooms because then they have 1 minute and they get kicked out. So I'm just going to do that. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Who's the speaker, by the way?
Oh, speaker. Well, I don't know. Bruce, do you want to be the speaker?
Oh, to present to the other group?
I don't know if we're doing that. It's just that we needed to have a speaker. No, you're the timekeeper. Ito, do you want to be the speaker?
Yes, I want to be the speaker. I don't know what I'm going to speak about. I don't have the notes, but
I'm sending it to you. I'm sending it on Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever.
Okay.
I love it. I love you. I want to do this thing I don't know how to do. It's great.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Okay, I'm yeah. Marce, we were just talking about the yumminess of life, and I told them and delicious.
Look how beautiful my pollen is.
Delicious.
Can you see? My maple is saying hi to all of you.
Hi, Maple.
Okay, we've lost. Oh, we lost someone, didn't we? Someone's gone, but that's okay.
Carmen.
So that's great. So how did the other group find that? Did you get through it? Which one did you? Let's just have maybe a minute or two on.
Well, we have a speaker, so he can tell you all about it.
Of course, yes, we have a speaker. Yeah. Can I just do a check-in? Because there's only 8 of us on the call. Can people go until 10 minutes after the scheduled end time? Because I think I've still got a bit of material to go through, and it gives us time to actually have a talk a bit about that. Is everyone okay with it?
I will have to go right at the cutoff time, but
all right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, but I think actually it's worth us having just a talk through how that exercise went. So let's do that. I think, Bruce, I can catch up with you another time to go through the last bits with you. Okay, so who's the speaker then? Is it you, Bruce, or is it Histo? Or
it's me actually, but I missed the part. What is required of the speaker?
Well, maybe you could just talk through. Maybe you could just talk through which one you selected, how you found the exercise, what values that you identified for the project. That'd be quite nice.
So we selected building a community center because our note keeper Milena laid out our skills in the chat, and we were discussing which of the 4 tasks are relevant to our skills, and I think it was very unanimous that building a community center was most relevant, and with this task in mind, we have organization, and because there's a lot of organization around building a community center, organizing events, tracking the events. Lucas, who unfortunately left, had one of his skills as bringing people together, and you really need to build a community center, you need to build a community, and bring people together is exactly that. I had one of my skills as a good teacher, so maybe that I could contribute to doing some classes. And Bruce shared his experience of managing a hackathon, which includes a lot of logistics, like organizing uh, food and cleaning of the event halls, and a lot of this logistics work. We concluded that we are lacking some skills, so we need to find other team members, and namely, we're lacking a bit of a creative designer that could design the atmosphere around the community center, like we have a common theme in the rooms that brings out a certain feeling. And another skill that we are lacking is basically financial management, because this is a financial endeavor as well, not just making classes and having fun. It needs to be sustainable in that regard. Yeah, so we also managed to discuss the values. Some key values are inclusivity and solidarity, so everyone would be welcome in the community center. I'll just go briefly because we're short on time. One of our values is striving for personal growth, and of course, this community center is we talk this centered around having classes and lectures and workshops. So I think this value fits perfectly. Personal growth, playfulness and passion and yumminess of life. I think this one speaks for itself. This community center, of course, everything related to it should not feel as doing work. It should feel as playing, learning, enjoying life, tasting life, and tasting the yumminess and deliciousness of life. And our last value is internal and external natural harmony and regenerative mindset. This is, I think, a common value that we had, and it's very needed in our times. So this is our small presentation.
That's great. Thank you. That's really cool. Very cool.
Thank you. Cool. Should I go with ours?
Sure.
So we were going to also do the community center, but we decided to. I proposed and the team agreed. We're going to do an art exhibition. Why? Because it's really cool. Because it's a one-off, whereas a community center it's a way longer task to do. Whereas the art exhibition can be cool, and we are a new team. We probably are going to learn a lot about each other, and taking into consideration our skills. There is not necessarily an artist, even though music is art, photography is art, but we can be producers of art. So we can find the artists that we can have doing our event. It's going to be an online art exhibition where we're going to gather people around 3 or 2 values, which is human freedom and freedom of expression, which is very simple. So we have people on the team that are doing the budgeting. We are also planning to do during this art exhibition some playing with the concept of selling NFTs, doing some sort of auctions, and playing with these concepts. We are someone already taking care of the website. We have marketing and invitations, so that's something that I can take care of. And also Antonio is very good at coordination. Milan is going to be making sure that all the databases and all the things in the background are running, and we have all the information that we require. And yeah, also having fun and put together something that our community needs. And yeah, that's that was us, I think.
Great.
Also the deliciousness of life.
Yeah. So look, I'm having deliciousness of life. I like that. Look, it's a 15-minute exercise, but it's amazing if you have a bit of focus session time together and shut everything else out, how many ideas you can come up as a group. And that's just kind of an illustrative of just kind of, as you work more closely with each other over a longer period, that's when you can start to get that perfect harmony if you start putting some of these other practices in place. Bruce, if you need to jump, this is probably the time to do it. I'm going to be about another 10 minutes, or you stay on, and more than welcome. I'll catch up with you soon.
Appreciate you. Yeah, we'll chat soon. I'll be on here until the next meeting starts.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. I'm going to come back to the closing things. I just wrote my notes there. Where is it? There. Okay. Okay, great. That was good. So we've got a couple of the principles left that to cover off. One is language and communication. It's key to creating that harmony and building trust in the team. I've talked a little bit about this kind of I to we language in a previous slide, but I think that it's, as you become a team, it's we can do this. It's not like I, right? So it's just that removal of it's that moving from ego to kind of, that collective base. And something else I put in my blog was about, your use of language, speaking nice, speaking well, not gossiping behind people's backs, not doing this, that, and the other. It's being impeccable with your word, and that's a term and a phrase used in one of the agreements in the 4 agreements by a guy called Don Miguel Ruiz, which again I would highly recommend. It's a bit more for personal things. I think it's one of Melane's favorite new books because I gave it to her on her travels. But it's a really nice way of setting out a framework for how you kind of can check in with yourself, if you like. The golden rule, we've talked a bit about this, I think we landed last week, which is this kind of concept of, take that understanding of how people like to work, how they want to interact with you. So treat people the way they want to be treated, not just the way that, you want to be treated. So that's kind of a key one in there. Formal, informal meetings. We talked. There could be more formal meetings that we have. Right, so you have meetings, but there's also that informal one-to-one and things. And we talk. Milena, I don't think she's talking. It's a subject now, but she's done a lot of work on kind of introducing things like peer-based feedback reviews, which can be part of a process to help everyone and to increase that transparency. So I think it's that encouraging the inclusive, open and transparent communication across the group, and DAOs potentially a good way to do that, to provide that transparency to everybody within the group or community on what's going on, or being able to contribute to making decisions, but through that information. And I just thought we'd pull out a few examples of some of the communication agreements we have within our agreement. So, receive, acknowledge whatever is expressed as a team member's truth. If you disagree with it, then ask clarifying questions. So it's not just like, that's rubbish, or I don't believe that, or, you start challenging it. Just ask clarifying questions, because actually you never know, you may well end up shifting your perspective and your point of view as well. And then the other one was to let the person who's speaking complete their thought, don't interrupt. If you have an idea that is urgent, pinch it and share when there is an opening. This was taught to us on one of the events we had the emergence event last year, where there is that kind of, how do you remember something? If you want to keep saying it, well, actually hold it in your between your 2 fingers and keep it there until you've got a chance to do it, or you raise your hand if it's virtual or anything else. But just respecting people that are in talking, don't just jump in and or change the subject or something like that, because then you just lose the power of that of what someone's trying to say. And then last but not least is the operations admin, and then that kind of evaluation part, which is important as well. So really, you know, as we're talking about, we came up with those two ideas. Well, obviously you want to start thinking about, you know, the very different ideas, community centre and art exhibition. If it's art exhibition one-off, do you really need a whole load of systems and everything else? Probably not, right? But you know, when you're building out a community or a big projects, you need what systems we're going to use. How do we implement those systems? What's the planning look like? Who's doing what? Roles and responsibilities? How do we make decisions quickly and effectively? So a lot of work being done within Mycelium Hub at the moment on different models for decision making, holacracy, sociocracy, and stuff like that. So look out for articles on that in the not too distant future. And then making sure there's this regular check-ins. The tribal leadership book calls it an oil check. You know, that's, you know, on a quarterly basis, for example, look at everything that we're doing and what needs oiling, what needs, you know, smoothing out, what's kind of, you know, clunky, or, you know, stopping the engine running as well as it can. Which is that kind of feeds also into this ongoing evaluations and assessments, including feedback. I mean, all of these 6 principles kind of hang together. There's holistic, there's overlap between them. They're not just, they're not just, you know, binary 6 things. They all come together into like almost like a holistic framework for creating that dream team. So we were going to, again, time limited, so I was going to do this another exercise, but I think this what actually one, just we could just have a quick 1 or 2 minutes on this as well. You know, just what I talked about then in terms of communication and language, and you know, how do you think we did communicate with each other in those breakout sessions? Could we have done anything differently? You know, was there respect? Did people get an opportunity to say what they wanted to say? Did everyone had a voice? All those kind of things. Maybe start with Elena's group.
Should I speak or the speaker shall speak?
Up to whoever, Elena, if you want to speak.
Okay, I can reflect on that.
Yeah.
How did we communicate with each other? I think that we were fine. That being said, if there is an interrupter in the room, that's usually me. So that's up to it to say if we were communicating well. But I think that generally we made sure that we, on every question, everyone's opinion was heard, and there was enough time for that. So like that which for me it's important. And when in terms of, I think that we were just a really, really good group because our value alignment was really good, really on point. I actually, now it's harder to judge our communication because we actually never had any conflict, right? Which is another, we never got there. And our skills, I can say that they're complementary, but at the same time, we have a lot of overlap. So it would be good to have a little bit more diversity as well. I don't know if you agree with that or you want to add something, feel free.
I agree, and I don't think that you've interrupted anyone, so yeah, we were good on that front, and yeah, absolutely, we were very, very well aligned, and yeah, I agree with what you said.
Okay. Okay, let's flip to the I'm going over time again here, but let's flip to our group. So Milan, what do you think there? Do you want to give your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to try and do something on a short time frame, but I think we covered a lot of the different areas. I think it was really interesting to come together with a group and look at, okay, we want to achieve something, and then there's like, what is our potential together, mapping the skills from that, or we have a goal and saying, okay, we want to do this. I mean, what's missing? So I think it was good to think about something different. We've never really done an art exhibition. Well, I haven't. And yeah, I think I think we went full circle. We went from very hands-on practical stuff right through to the values of freedom of expression.
Did you think that from the communication perspective, did you think that that was everyone had it balanced, everyone had a chance to speak and give their points of view? Yep, yep. Yeah, I thought the communication in our group was good. Value alignment, I think, was there, and I think we have got quite a diverse set of skills actually. So I think we probably did, you know, possibly not there'd be another project that we would be more suited to, but I think probably we could pull that off as a group with a bit of Yuli and a few other people as well. We probably could do it. But okay, anyone else got any comments on that before? Just got closing remarks.
No, it's a fun exercise. I was getting quite excited about the art exhibition by the end.
Okay. All right. Well, we can maybe we should talk about that one offline. See what we're doing.
No idea.
Exactly.
I think on my end, I should have asked more questions. We were kind of time, but yeah, I was trying to keep everything fast, so I was just keeping quiet more than I think I should have, and yeah, in this way, I think I might have not like done my my part 100%, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, if from my side, just in terms of open it, I think what I'd like to have done in the exercise is giving you guys the note takers the templates, and you could like fill those out, and then we could just present them on the screen. It'd probably be a bit easier rather than having to think about what needed to be done there. But yeah, thank you. Well, that's good. Good look. It was a rushed thing, right? You're never going to brainstorm on a brand new idea that you really want to take forward in 15 minutes, but it's just hopefully you get the sense of what we were doing there. So,
Absolutely, it was great.
Great, perfect. Okay, so I haven't really produced a summary of the other thing. I mean, we went through the 6 different principles, the cause, the values, the culture, language, communication, agreements, operational excellence, etc. So I'll just give you a few things you might want to do and that you could go back into your existing groups or communities on. So have a spring clean. It is spring, so I think we're coming to the end of spring. So before the summer starts in full swing, how many groups and communities are you in? And are you able to fully contribute to those? Do you feel aligned with their groups and with their group vision objectives? They may have changed, you may have changed. So reconfirm, should I still even be in this group? And then exit the ones you're no longer aligned with. That will give you some time to focus on some of the stuff you are passionate about now. Assess the groups you want to continue involvement in. So then do the spring clean. Okay, I've got 5-6 groups that I really I have fairly active involvement in. How are they working? Right, you've got some ideas now. What makes teams tick and work better? So what could you do? Who could you discuss within your existing groups and teams that can and put forward some ideas and some changes that can improve the way the group functions and delivers on its objectives? Identify groups that are the really high performing ones. What are the key attributes of that, and try and bring them into the other groups that you're in. So that's some of the kind of things I would think about that. And then clearly again we're time limited, but usually one, I've said 2 or 3, but even one. If you take a group, take one forward, apply some of the things we learned about today, and just see whether you can enact change in a positive way. And alongside that, you could be looking at, from a personal development perspective, am I doing enough, and should I be learning more skills? Right, okay, I love this group. I really want to be my best version of this group, but I haven't. I need to learn how to build PowerPoint presentations, for example. That's a good example. So called myself out a bit there. So I get a lot of support from my teams on this. So I should be doing that. So it doesn't. There's no. My team members don't have to be spending time wasting their time. Helping me on something I should perfectly be able to do if I just spent a few hours learning it. Right. So that kind of thing. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. So we went over a little bit, but thank you for your engagement and conversations. And anyone got any other closing comments? Otherwise, we'll let you go and have a good rest of the evening, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
You guys are going to get the slides on an email tomorrow, and the recording potentially.
Thank you. Love the spring cleaning. Really cool.
Yeah.
The spring clean is great. Yeah, this slide is something that I took a screenshot of.
Yeah. Well, we got one typo in there, Milena, so let me correct that before we send it out to the groups.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Andrew.
Bye.
Bye.
Great job.
Bye.